Good day, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to my virtual classroom. For today's video, I will be reviewing geometric sequence. Okay, so we define a geometric sequence as where to get from one term to the next, you multiply the same number each time, and this number is called the common ratio. So for the geometric sequence, this only tells us that we have to know the common ratio. Okay, so or this is represented by R. So example, so say for example, I have a sequence 2, 10, 50, and 250. So is this a geometric sequence? So we have to test by getting the common ratio first. So pag sinabi nating ratio, we are dividing the two consecutive numbers. Okay, say for example, 10 divided by 2, 50 divided by 10, 250 divided by 50, and others. So let's take an example. So 2 and 10, so 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. While 50 divided by 10 is equal to 5. So we have also 250 divided by 50 is equal to 5. So if we're going to look at it, so the ratio is 5 for the three examples. It means that they have a common ratio. Therefore, the sequence is a geometric sequence. So the common ratio is 5. Okay, another example. So if I have a sequence 90, negative 30, 10, negative 3, and 1/3, and so on. So is this a geometric sequence? So let us get the ratio first. So we have negative 30 divided by 90, that is equal to negative 1/3. Okay. And then we have also 10 divided by negative 30 is equal to negative 1/3. And also we have negative 3 and 1/3 divided by 10 is equal to negative 1/3. How do we divide this fraction? So you go back to your fraction. So you change first the mixed number into improper fraction, then get the quotient by getting the reciprocal of the divisor, and then you have your quotient. So if you're going to notice, the quotient or the ratio for each example is negative 1/3. So they have common ratio. Therefore, this is a geometric sequence. So common ratio is negative 1/3. So common ratio for u sub 2 divided by u sub 1. So that is by dividing the second term by the first term. Okay. So how do we find now the nth term of a geometric sequence? So take note first that it should be a geometric sequence because you cannot find the nth term. It's not a geometric sequence. So going back to your arithmetic sequence, we get the common difference. At for geometric sequence, we get the common ratio. Okay, take note of the difference. So here we represent R as the number you times or you multiply by to get to the next term. And of course, your A, take note of A, is the first term of the sequence. I'll repeat, R is the number you times by to get to the next term or you multiply by to get to the next term. Okay, example, 2, 10, 50, 250. So what did you multiply to 2? Okay, and then what did you multiply to 10 to go to 50? And what did you multiply to 50 to get 250? So that is what we mean by R. So here, if you notice, your R is 5 because you multiply 2 by 5 to get 10. You multiply 10 by 5 to get 50. You multiply 50 by 5 to 250. So that means R is also the common ratio. So at the same time, the multiplier. Okay, so A times R, which is 5. And then to get 50, we square your R, which is 5. So 5 squared is 25 times A, which is the first term. So we get 50. So I'll repeat. I'll make it slow. So your A is the first term. Your R is the multiplier. Okay, or the common ratio in order for you to get to the next term. So here, to get your 10, so you multiply 2 by 5. So we have 10. Then we multiply 2 by the square of r, which is 5 times 5, 25. So you have 50. And at the same time, you get the cube of r. So 125 times 2, so you have 250. So what will be your n here? Okay, so ano na yung magiging n mo dito? So we have to represent this as a times r n minus 1. Okay, n minus 1. So this is the standard form. So you have to subtract the exponent by 1. So to get your term or the nth term. Okay, so take note of this. So, therefore, so this particular representation is the same for all geometric sequence. Okay, this is the same for all geometric sequence. So your checklist, you will need to find or use these examples, okay? Or you're going to use these representations again. R is the number of times to get to the next term, and A is the first sequence. And the second term, let's take this one. The second term of a geometric sequence is 4. And the fourth term is 8. Find the values of the common ratio and find the first term and find the 10th term. Again, given second term, so there's no first term. Okay? And of course, the fourth term. So wala ring third term. Okay? So, find the values of the common ratio. Kukunin natin ang common ratio. And of course, first term, kukunin natin yung first term. And then we're going to get the 10th term. Remember, we cannot get the 10th term without getting the common ratio and getting the first term. So this is the challenge. Kasi ang given is fourth and the second term. Okay? So, balikan natin yung algebra ninyo. So, pakibalikan yung algebra because we'll be solving this using your algebra. So, what terms have you got or need to find? So, it's here now. Okay, so what do we have now? So, if we're going to write the sequence, of course, wala yung first term. Wala siya, so question mark. Merong second term. Walang third term. Merong fourth term, which is 8. So, ngayon, ang kailangan muna natin hanapin is the common ratio. Okay, kaya lang, bago natin makuha ang common ratio, dapat consecutive sila. Iwala nga ito. So, x yan mga yan. So, represent that as a known number. Okay? So, kailangan nating gawin ang algebra. And then, we're going to get the first term and then the third term. So, represent first. So, we have question mark 4, question mark 8. Because that is the given. Okay? So, of course, the second term, sabi natin kanina, is always the product of first term and the common ratio. Okay, the first term and the common ratio. So, that is your AR. Remember na wala pa yung ating first term. So, unknown siya. So, and then the exponent or the common ratio, wala din. Okay? So, hanapin natin yan. And of course, your 8 is of course the product of the first term and the cube of the common ratio or the multiplier. So ito lang ang magiging given natin. So ngayon, simplify natin ito. Okay, using algebra. Okay, so what do we have now? So this one, AR. This AR cube. Kasi itong question mark, this is A only, the first term. Ito naman, this will become AR raised to the second power. Okay? So, balikan natin yung kanina. Okay? So, tingnan yung maigi. Ayan. Diba? First term is A. Second term is AR. Yung third term is AR2. Yung fourth term is AR3. And so on. Yung n term is AR n minus 1. So, take note of this. Okay? So, let's go to the problem now. So, it's well represented. So, unknown pa rin yung 10th term. So that is represented by AR and minus 1. So AR cube is 8, AR is 4. So yan lang ang given natin. So let's solve. I-divide natin sila. Okay, let's simplify them. So AR cube over AR equals 8 over 4. So ibig sabihin, when we get the proportion or we get the ratio, we cancel when we divide. So cancel natin yung A. So wala na yung A. Then, we're going to cancel r cube sa r. So, r squared na lang yan. Kasi cancel natin, di ba? So, 3 minus 1 sa loob exponent. So, 3 minus 1, that is 2. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Okay? So, this becomes r squared is equal to 2. Saan ulit galing ang 2? Sa 8 divided by 4. Okay? So, 2. Saan galing ang r squared? When we simplify AR cube divided by AR. So, cancel A. So, wala nang A. Cancel ka ng isang R sa R cube. So, dalawang R na lang ang natitira. So, we have R squared equals 2. Now, since ratio ang hinahanap natin, it's R, single R. To eliminate the other R, so we get the square root of both sides. Okay, so the square root of R squared is R. So, therefore, we have the square root of 2. So, therefore, the common ratio is square root of 2. Okay, so R is square root of 2. So, using AR equals 4, so that means A times the square root of 2 equals 4. So, that means by dividing both sides by the square root of 2, so, i-divide natin both sides by square root of 2 para makuha natin yung A. The same is true with 4 divided by square root of 2. So, by simplifying now, A is equal to 2 times the square root of 2. So, paano nangyari yan? Di ba, balikan nyo yung algebra ninyo by rationalization. Para matanggal yung denominator, we multiply both sides by the square root of 2. Okay? So, definitely, mawawala na tong magiging 4 is square root of 2 over square root of 4. So, square root of 4 is 2, cancel sa 4, so 4 na. So, 2 na lang yan. So, A is equal to 2 times the square root of 2. So, kung naalala nyo pa yung rationalization method para ma-simplify ito, we multiply numerator and denominator by square root of 2. Okay? So, then simplify. So, A now is equal to 2 times the square root of 2. So, basically, nakuha natin yung R, which is the square root of 2. Then, A is 2 times the square root of 2. Okay? Now, since we have this, so, kunin na natin yung the 10th term. Okay? Ang 10th term natin, or the nth term, is always represented by AR n minus 1. Balikan nyo ulit yung kanina. Okay? So the 10th now is, since 10 ang paano naging 9? Siyempre, n mo is 10 minus 1, di 9 na lang. So, you have AR raised to the 9th power. Kasi 10th term 10th term. So, 10th term or the nth term. So, 10 minus 1 equals 9. So, you have now AR raised to the 9th power. So, yan na lang isosolve natin. So, to solve that, syempre, ang A mo is 2 times the square root of 2. Ito siya, sa taas. Ito. So, A is 2 times the square root of 2. Substitute lang. Times your R is the square root of 2. Okay, square root of 2 raised to the 9th power. Kasi 9 ito. Okay, nag-substitute lang tayo. Ulitin ko. Yung A, saan kinuha ang A? Ito yan, 2 times the square root of 2. Yung R, ito, square root of 2. Yung square root na 9, you just copy. Okay, by simplifying now, AR raised to the 9th power is equal to, of course, 2 times, syempre ito munang dalawa. Okay, so since meron tong exponent 1, itong isa, so law of exponent ulit, multiplying powers having the same base, you add the exponent. So, since parehas ang base nila square root of 2, so magiging na yung square root of 2 raised to the 10th power. Okay, raised to the 10th power. To simplify, syempre, pag nag-simplify tayo, we cancel yung index. Diba, ang square root means the index is 2. So, we cancel 10 divided by 2. So, magiging na yung 5 para makuha natin. Kasi 2 raised to the 10, if you're going to multiply 10 times, it will give you 2 raised to the 5th power. Okay, so AR now is equal to 2 raised to the 5th. Paano nakuha ulit ang 5? So, you cancel the index here. Meron yung 2 kasi square root yan. So, when you cancel, siyempre, tatanggalin mo na yung radicals. So, hindi na natin babalikan yung algebra nyo kasi yung tagal na pinag-aralan nyo yan. Okay, so radicals nyo. So, it becomes now 2 times 2 raised to the 5th. So, using PEMDAS rule, hindi muna kayo magmumultiply ng 2 times 2. Ito muna i-simplify natin. 2 raised to the 5th. What is 2 raised to the 5th? 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. 2 raised to the 5th is 32. Times 2 is equal to, of course, 64. Or, since they have the same base, you add their exponents. Okay? So, dalawang way yan. It's either you get first the value of 2 raised to the 5th, which is 32, times 2 equals 64. Or, the other way around, you add their exponents since they have the same base. So, 2 raised to 1 times 2 raised to the 5th. So, that means 5 plus 1 equals 2 raised to the 6. And then, saka mo siya isi-simplify. 2 raised to the 6 is equal to 64. So, in other words, the 10th term is 64. Okay, so that is how we find the unknown term. Okay, so let's have an example using using a specific problem, business problem. O Andy invest A pesos at a rate of interest which is 4% per annum. Nag-receive daw ng interest ng 4%. After 5 years, it will be worth 10,000 pesos. So, how much will it be worth after 10 years? Kasi after 5 years dyan. Okay, so after 10 years, magkano na? Okay, with an interest of 4% per annum. Okay, so again, meron tayong R as the number you times by to get to the next term, or this is the common ratio. And A is the first term of the sequence. What terms have you got or you need to find, or what is A? So what do we have? So illustrate muna natin. Kunin muna natin yung mga given. So R is 1.04. Think it will increase in value need at 1%. Kasi di ba saan natin sa business mathematics natin? R 0, 4 is 4%, 0.04 plus 1. Okay? And then, of course, this is pesos. A is this gives you that you need to work out. So, think about the term. So, first term is 1. Okay? After 1 year, so hindi na natin alam. Okay, after second year, after third year, so hindi rin natin alam. Pero after 5 years, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So after 5 years, meron na siyang 10,000 pesos. Okay? So, AR to the 5th is 10,000. Okay? So, power is usually the same as the years, but we have to check that. So, AR5 is 10,000. So, AR10 is unknown. Using the same idea, after 10 years will be at the 11th term. Okay, so that's the 11th term kasi n-1, di ba? So n-1, that's the 10th term. Okay, so let's replace the R. Okay, so A times R is 1.04 raised to the 5th power. Kasi 4% ang interest nito ha. Okay, kaya may 1.04 yan. So 1 plus the interest, okay? So now, so A is equal to 10,000 divided by 1.04 raised to the fifth power. Kasi ano yan. Okay, and then, so dividing kasi both sides ito. Okay, so makancel natin. So A na lang matitira. So 10,000. So therefore, 10,000 divided by 1.04 raised to the fifth power using your calculator, that is 8,219.27. So that is your A. Okay, so 8,000. So AR10 now. So AR10, so we have 10,000, 1.04 raised to the fifth power times 1.04 raised to the 10th power equals 10,000 times 1.04 raised to the fifth power. So AR now is, AR10 is equal to, okay, 12,116.53. So what is the first term in the geometric progression to exceed 1 million? So this question will be discussed on the next meeting. So I hope you learn something about, you are reviewed about the geometric sequence. Okay, so thank you so much for listening, guys. So I hope you are refreshed about the geometric sequence as one of the examples of patterns in number. Okay.